Okay, I'm talking to you today about preschool monitors and special needs. There are three types of applications for a preschool monitor. One is a volunteer, one is a rehire, and one is a paid. I have all of those in my office, and all you have to do is come by and pick one up. A parent must agree for the student to be a monitor before I can train them. Upon receiving the paperwork, for me to get it back and to hire them, the paperwork must be complete when it's received, or I will have to wait until they turn everything in. The main holdup is usually a copy of their social security number, and it's got to be a copy of their card. Once all the documents are received, then they can be hired through central office. I will train them. There is a 4-page document that I go over with them, and they sign at the end saying that they have had that training and they understand what they were taught. I would recommend that you go over those 4 pages with them so that you're aware of what they have been taught as well. Their responsibilities are on those lists and they have agreed to them. Another thing that I would tell them and that I would ask you to do is how to use the radio. In case of an emergency, in case something happened to you as the driver, what I teach them is to pick up the mic, hold it, push down the button, hold it for 2 seconds, say this is bus number XYZ, I need assistance, at which case dispatch would then assist them. But they can't do that unless they're familiar with it, which you will have to teach them. I also tell them that they're not in charge of the bus. They are in charge of preschool students only. Their job is to receive the preschool child from their home, to assist the preschool student in getting on the bus, to assist them to their seat, which is the window seat for the preschool child. They are to sit with them. They are to teach the preschool students the rules of the bus. They will model what example you have set. So please go over the rules of the bus and safety with each of these students. They are to keep the child safe and happy. If they have any concerns with the preschool student, they're to let you know, and they're to assist them off the bus. In the PM, when they pick them up at the school, they will do exactly what I just described in reverse. But again, their job is not to be in charge of the entire bus. They are to keep the preschool students happy and safe. Also, as a monitor, you are setting this example of what you expect them to follow. So if you want them to adhere to the bus rules, no food, no drinks, then you will set that example. Now moving on to a different subject which is already in the handbook, which is about dropping off preschool students. Please make sure that you are aware that that preschool student you are letting off the bus is going to the guardian who is on their emergency card, and you have verified that with their ID. That's critical. These little guys do not know. They are unaware. They will take off the bus. So please make sure they are being received by their parent or their guardian. Also, a special needs student is never under any age at any time to be dropped off without a parent or a guardian until the age that they're no longer in school. We must always see an adult parent or guardian for a special needs student. If you're going to take a special needs trip, an extracurricular trip, and you're going to drive a special needs bus, please make sure that you are aware of how to operate the lift, that you understand how to tie down the harness or the wheelchairs. If you are unfamiliar or uncomfortable with any of those things, please come and see me. I would be glad to go over all of that with you. There are also some students that, based on medical needs, when you load at a school and the teacher is on with you and you are doing an extracurricular trip, please ask the teacher, who would know, if there are any students on that bus that need to travel alone. There are students that are to travel alone based on medical needs, and you would not know who those children are. I would, if you brought me a list of the students that you have, if you were concerned, and certainly the teacher would. But there are a few students that, based on their medical needs, they need to travel by themselves. So just ask the teacher if all of your students are allowed to ride together. Also, when you return a special needs bus, generally the special needs drivers and monitors need to pull out of here right around 2 o'clock. So as you're getting back from a trip, you are delivering a bus to them that they will be getting in immediately to head out. So please make sure you're returning it clean and fueled. And again, if you have any questions, please come and see me. Another issue is the crutches. Children with crutches, any student with crutches, needs to be on a special needs bus. This was a new provision this past year, and the reason is if that student is loading on or off the bus, there is a monitor to assist them so they don't fall. That way it doesn't stop the driver from being in the driver's seat and taking care of all the issues with driving. The monitor will help the student with the crutches. Okay, for special needs, the process for determining special needs students, there is a meeting in which I go to for transportation that is called an Admissions and Release Committee, an ARC. And in that ARC, there are issues discussed about a child's individual education plan. That would be things from a doctor. That would be determining if there's any special instructions because of that child's disability that need to be watched for. There would be a list of medications if they choose to provide one. It would determine the length of time that the child could ride, or if in fact they could ride with other children based on their disability. It determines all and any of their medical needs. It's discussed with the teachers, the principal, the guidance counselor, the school psychologist, the people in physical therapy, speech, hearing. Any of those issues will all be discussed at one of these meetings to determine that all of the needs of a special needs child are met. Excuse me. On there would also be alternative drop-offs, possibly for medical reasons. They might need to be dropped off somewhere else. All of these things, again, are discussed at the meeting to determine what is best for this child. A child that is on a special needs bus is designed for a T5, which says that they have a disability and they need a monitor, or a 504, which means they have a health condition and they need a monitor. So all of those things would determine the provisions that are given for a child's transportation. A special needs student is the most protected by the federal government for riding and going to school on a bus. And so for that reason, confidentiality about these children are not to be discussed. If you have a child on your bus and you're wondering if they're special needs or if they have a condition that you need to be aware of, please come and see me and I will look up that student. Because other than the children on your bus, you don't need to know about any of the other children. Based on confidentiality, that's not yours. So when you have a child who you know is special needs, or I have pointed out that they have provisions, you are not to discuss that child with anybody. Not their condition, not who they are, not any features that would let somebody know that you're talking about that specific child. So just be very careful about that, because these children can't protect themselves. That's why it's so stringent that we protect them through federal laws. And again, without exception, you cannot drop these children off unless you see a parent or guardian up to the age of 21. So there is at no time you can drop them off. Anytime that you have any questions or concerns, please come and see me and I'll be glad to go over whatever issues you have. Now, leaving special needs and going back to the student monitors, I have developed a new timesheet. In the past, most of you have been really good about filling them out completely. There are areas that sometimes are left void. One is their employee ID number. They have a 4-digit employee ID number just like you do, and it needs to be on their timesheet. Their name needs to appear on the timesheet, not yours. Some of the drivers are writing their name where the student monitor's name needs to go. I also need your bus number and what is your home elementary school that you're driving out of. So if you drive, say, to South High or South Middle, and you deliver to an elementary school of Bush, then that's what you're going to put. The elementary school is Bush. Make sure that you put their time, do it in 15-minute increments. And make sure that the preschool student's name is on your timesheet. Then all you have to do when that's complete on Fridays, review, make sure they have everything correct, make sure they've signed it, you sign it, and then put it in my door. I have a few drivers that let them pile up and they bring me 3 or 4 at a time. That's really not fair to these student monitors. They need their money just like we do. And so please try to make sure that you get those to me every Friday. Again, any questions that you have about preschool or special needs, call me anytime or come by my office anytime. Thank you and stay safe.
Care and maintenance, 4-hour update 2021, take 1. Hello and welcome to the care and maintenance portion of your 8-hour update for the 2021 school season. I'm Rob Hale, training coordinator here at the Transportation Department. Glad to be with you. I know this is a little different for us to be using video to do our updates, but with of course the COVID-19 restrictions that we have, this necessitates that we do something a little different. And having said that, currently we're still at this point, the recording, which is June the 10th, we don't know where we are for the coming school year yet, but I do know this: our training is still important, and we will continue.